Alexander Kierolf is a leading expert on happiness at work. He's a speaker and consultant working with companies like Lego, Hilton, IKEA, IBM, many others. He's the author of several books, including a bestseller called Happy Hour is 9 to 5, How to Love Your Job. And he's traveled the world speaking for more than 50,000 people about happiness at work.
I want you to imagine that you're going to a job interview with a company in America called Zappos.com. You're at the job interview and the interviewer looks at you and asks you this question. So, on a scale from 1 to 10, how weird are you? Now that's kind of a strange question to be asked in a job interview, but there is a reason why they ask this question. And the reason is all about company values. Now you may ask, but wait a minute, do company values even matter? Who cares what values the company has? I just want to do my job. But it's really not that simple. Company values are enormously important, and that is what they've realized at Zappos.com, and that is why they ask this question. Now at Zappos, they have 10 company values, and they say our company values are the most important thing in our company. And value number 3 is create fun and a little weirdness. So when they ask you this question, if you say, well, on a scale from 1 to 10, I guess I'm a 2, you probably won't get the job because you don't live up to that value. You're not weird enough to work at Zappos. On the other hand, if you say 9 or 10, you're probably too psychotic and you won't get the job either. So company values are really, really important, and more companies are getting company values, are introducing company values, are updating their company values. But a lot of companies are doing it wrong. And there are 2 mistakes that you very, very often see in this work. Mistake number 1 is that nobody actually knows the values. Nobody can remember them. I mean, you go up to a coworker and you ask, so what are our company values? And they're like, I don't know. I think we have 4, or is it 5? And if you don't know the values, then you can't actually use them. You can't live up to the values. So tip number 1 is to actually know your own company values. Mistake number 2 that you see in a lot of companies is that people don't actually live up to the values. I mean, you have these company values, but it's just not how people act on a day-to-day basis. And that makes us really frustrated and unhappy at work because there is this disconnect between who we say we are and who we really are. So tip number 2 is make sure to live up to the company values yourself. And if you see a coworker who isn't acting accordingly with the company values, you don't be afraid to speak up and say so. And remember, having company values means that sometimes you have to make tough choices. At Zappos, their value number 10 is be humble. And they've told me that they have had to say no to a lot of really good, very skilled, very professional job applicants because those people weren't humble. They did not live up to the company values, and therefore they couldn't work at Zappos.com. So remember the 2 tips. Tip number 1, know the value. Tip number 2, live the values. And if you don't, your company values will have no value.